Beginning in 1984, Hendrick Motorsports has been a powerhouse in the NASCAR Cup Series, with 12 championships and 257 wins over 37 years. Of the 4 cars they ran in 2007, their most successful season as a team, only one has yet to have a championship to its number. That number happened to be the 25. Even though the 25 has raced for 25 seasons with 15 drivers, it could never claim the top spot in the standings. It had gone through so much, yet never could reach the stardom the 24, 48, and 5 could. And the story it went through, while overlooked by many, is deserving of its own video for each season it ran. This is just a simple overview of the story, and while a multi-part video would do it more justice, an overview can help explain the story, and that is my main goal. Maybe someday I will explain every season. Yet let us hear the story of the Hendrick 25, highlighting some of the numerous ups and downs.
15 degrees, a third of a mile around. Tim Richmond going after win number 2. When he crosses the finish line, Tim Richmond will be 2 for 2, batting 1,000 in 1987. Here comes Tim Richmond. He's a winner again.
A little wider.
There he goes.
Junior.
Oh, no! There's the 25. Up to 48. It takes out Earnhardt and Jimmy Johnson.
Caution is out.
Fumes. That's all he needs.
Yaley second. Kyle Petty third. Reed Sorensen. Brian Vickers.
No pressure, and he has got it made. He can coast from there.
For the National Guard, Casey Mears is going to win his first Nextel Cup race, the Coke 600.
Good for him. All right.
Becomes the 4th Hendrick car driver to win this.
Look at Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty gets a third.
To understand this story, we would need to go back to the origin of Hendrick Motorsports, as it leads to the beginning of the Hendrick 25. Hendrick, along with Harry Hyde, Raymond Beadle, and C.K. Spurlock, founded All-Star Racing. At first, the team planned to field a car for Richard Petty, as he moved away from Petty Enterprises, but the deal fell through, with Petty going to Mike Curb Racing. Tim Richmond was one of the drivers meant to drive the 5 car, but didn't, as he and Dale Earnhardt were both not successfully hired for the car. Hendrick then went to Jeffrey Bodine, who had previously won the Rookie of the Year award and had a career-best finish of 2nd. After the 7th race of the season with dwindling results, Hendrick informed Bodine that he would shut down the team following the Martinsville race. Luckily, Bodine got his first career win and saved the team at that Martinsville race. And due to that, the previously unsponsored 5 car got sponsorship from Northwestern Security Life and rallied off 2 more wins to become 9th in points. Following that season, Levi Garrett came on for a multi-year sponsorship deal, and the 5 car went up to 5th in points in 1985, while briefly becoming a 2-car team, fielding the 1 car for Dick Brooks in his final start. In 1986, however, the team expanded to a 2nd full-time car, ran by Tim Richmond, who previously was unsuccessfully hired for the 5 car, was put in the 25, and had an incredible first season.
Richmond has just won the 5th race of his 7-year Winston Cup stock car career. It's his 2nd victory here at Pocono. As Morgan Shepherd, Harry Gant, Buddy Arrington are taken to the infield care center to be checked over following that grinding crash down in turn number 1.
Richmond into the tri-oval. Richmond across the finish line. The checkered flag to win the 28th running of the Firecracker 400.
Bodine has the favorite line as they come down the short chute into turn number 3. Ricky Rudd just out of your picture. He may be a factor as this one comes off turn 3. This is the final corner. They'll head for the start-finish line, a drag race off the corner. Rudd is there. Rudd is behind Bodine. He jumps to the inside. They come across, and it's too close to call.
That's got to be one of the best finishes I've ever seen in Winston Cup competition.
He won 7 races and came 3rd in points in 1986, only 6 points behind Darrell Waltrip, and was the winningest driver of the season, with only consistency issues coming into play of his loss of the Cup. Unfortunately, however, Richmond missed the first 11 races of the season, as he publicly stated he had pneumonia, as Benny Parsons subbed for him in the Reen number 35. He came back after those races and won his first 2 races in 1987, but his health slowly declined, and after Michigan, Richmond left Hendrick Motorsports, with the number not running again until Rick Hendrick drove his car to a 33rd place finish at Riverside Raceway. Tragically, in 1989, Tim Richmond had died of AIDS, and his comeback attempt in 1988 failed due to him being suspended due to reported substance abuse and would never race again. In 1988, Ken Schrader took over the 25, and in that season, he got his first win and had finished 5th in points, at that time his career best, with one race at Arrington Racing that season. In 1990, Kodiak took over primary sponsorship as Folgers had left that role. In 1990, he went winless but got his 3rd straight Daytona 500 pole. In 1991, Schrader got his final 2 Cup wins and finished 9th in points. The final major highlight of this era is Schrader's best points finish, 4th in 1994. Following that, Schrader's performance dipped and he left the 25, which was now sponsored by Budweiser after 1996. As Schrader left, he was replaced by Ricky Craven, one of NASCAR's iconic modern journeymen. 1997 started with success for Craven, as he was the end cap to Hendrick's 1-2-3 finish at the Daytona 500, trailing the winner, Jeff Gordon, and the defending champion, Terry Labonte. After suffering a concussion, Craven missed 2 races, with Todd Bodine and Wally Dallenbach Jr. subbing, and following a pole at New Hampshire, Hendrick put Craven in the part-time 50 car, which was numbered in honor of NASCAR's 50th season. At first, Dallenbach drove with Craven in the 50, with more races than Craven, but Craven got the 50 car in 1999. With 5 top 10s and no top 5s in the 25, Dallenbach went to drive for Galaxy Motorsports, while Budweiser left for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated to sponsor Dale Earnhardt Jr. In 2000, Jerry Nadeau took over with Michael Holligan's colors. His first season with Hendrick gave him his first career win in the season finale at Atlanta, beating Dale Earnhardt by 1.3 seconds. The following season gave him his best career points finish of 17th. He began with Hendrick in 2002, but went with multiple teams over the course of the year, with Joe Nemechek taking the reins of the 25. Nemechek had lost his ride at Haas Carter Motorsports due to Kmart's bankruptcy and bounced teams twice, ending up at Hendrick. He proved his worth at Hendrick, getting a win in 2003, but went to MB2 Motorsports later in the season to sub for Jerry Nadeau, where he got his final win 1 year later. His replacement, Brian Vickers. You could say that Brian Vickers was the beginning of the 25's modern era, as he was the first driver from the 25 with no NASCAR starts in the 20th century. Originally meant to run full-time in 2004 while running the Busch Series in 2003, Brian Vickers stepped up with his sponsor GMAC and Ditech.com to race in the 25 as Nemechek went to drive at MB2 Motorsports. With the Busch Series championship in the bag, the 25 team had high hopes for the season, but had a lackluster season, finishing 3rd in the Rookie of the Year standings and 25th in points. The following year was a better season compared to 2004, with 5 top 5s and 10 top 10s, and a best finish of 2nd in the June Pocono race, leading up to a 17th place points finish. At the halfway point of the 2006 season, it was announced that Brian Vickers would leave the team in 2006, as his successor was announced on June 9 of that year. But Vickers went out with a win, and that win was incredibly controversial.
It getting a little wider.
There he goes.
Junior.
Down. Oh, no! There's a 25 hooked to 48 and takes out Earnhardt and Jimmy Johnson.
Caution is out. The leaders had already taken the white flag.
So is it going to be the 25 or the 9?
There are 19 scoring loops around the track. NASCAR will use scoring loops and videotape to determine the race winner. The checkered flag is out. Checkers and yellow out at Talladega.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Not going to be a popular win for the 25. It is. Ray Evernham, owner of the 9 car.
On the final lap of the 2006 UAW Ford 500, Dale Earnhardt Jr. led at Talladega, with the entire field behind him pushing the 8 car to the win. Jimmy Johnson, the driver in second position, decided to go out of the line for one last pass for the lead, as well as his teammate Brian Vickers. But as the two went out, Vickers was already moving ahead of Jimmy and tapped the 48 into Dale Jr., and the rest is history. As the checkered flag came out, Brian Vickers was scored as the leader, and in victory lane, Vickers stated, "It is mixed emotions. It is need to be in victory lane, but the last thing I want to do was get into Jimmy and wreck either of those guys." Dale Earnhardt Jr. said after the wreck, "He didn't wreck anyone on purpose. He was trying to push the 48. I didn't think he thought, oh, here's my chance to knock them both out. He just got excited while trying to push the 48. While Jimmy Johnson said, "We had a great chance to make up some points and got crashed by a teammate. I was real patient until the white flag was up. I got a good run inside of the 8 and got a lot of help from behind. Too much help. Knowing the situation we are all in, I would hope that someone will be a little more patient." Chad Knaus also replied to the incident saying, "I just don't think Vickers has the talent to understand what he has underneath him." This was the beginning of the end for the 25, yet one full-time season to end it was yet to come. One final season to close the era. The 2007 season is the season where the 25 team definitely showed that they could not keep up with the other cars in the Hendrick fleet, as Hendrick Motorsports won 18 races, with the 48 winning 10 races, 24 winning 6 races, and the 5 winning 1 race, with all 3 in the top 5 in points. Meanwhile, the 25 was in 15th in points, yet there was one final hurrah.
Brian Vickers. No pressure, and he has got it made. He can coast from there.
For the National Guard, Casey Mears is going to win his first Nextel Cup race, the Coke 600.
Good for him. All right.
Becomes the 4th Hendrick car driver to win this year.
Look at Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty gets a 3rd.
That night, the 25 got its final win. After 21 seasons of full-time racing, the final victory had occurred. In 2008, Casey Mears moved to the 5, as Dale Earnhardt Jr. got the 25, renumbered as the 88, causing the 25 to become the main part-time team for Hendrick's R&D. This enters the part-time era. After 2007, the 25's first attempt was the number 2nd D&Q, its first since 1988 with Ken Schrader, run by Brad Keselowski. The second attempt, 3 weeks later, was Brad's first start, qualifying 37th and finishing a solid 19th. His second attempt came at Homestead that same year, finishing 23rd. The following year, which gave Brad his first win in the 09 car owned by James Finch, Brad had a top 10 at Darlington, and 2 more top 15s with the team, although the team got its 3rd and most recent D&Q. And after a 12th place finish at Charlotte, the place where he got his first D&Q for the 25, he left Hendrick shortly after due to all 4 seats in the Cup being occupied. 2 years after, the 25 got a start, technically. Jimmy Johnson took Mark Martin's usual number due to Lowe's having a 5% off deal for all their stores, and this gave way to Mark Martin running a throwback to the 25's earlier colors. As of now, the final 5 starts from the car came from the driver of the 9 car, Chase Elliott. These races were run to prepare Elliott for taking over the 24 car from Jeff Gordon, as the defending champion from the 2nd Division, then the Nationwide Series, was put up to the 25 in 5 races during the season. While the expectations in this car were not high, as this was mainly done to give Elliott some experience, compared to Keselowski's Hendrick debut, these were not the greatest finishing positions. A 38th at Martinsville, a 16th at Richmond, the team's best finish that year, 2 straight 18th place finishes at Charlotte and Indianapolis, and finally a 41st at Darlington, his worst finish in Cup and his only non-top 40 finish. Following Darlington, Elliott went back to full-time lower division racing as his only ride, and that, as of now, was the final time Rick Hendrick feuded the 25. And so, our story concludes. Yet I found a few things interesting while researching. Allow me to share my discoveries with you. The 25 car was, for the most part, a revolving door of drivers, while the 24, 5, and especially the 48 have had drivers for long tenures. The 25 had 15 drivers over 25 seasons, both part-time and full-time. Jerry Nadeau and Joe Nemechek both went to the same car following the 25, as Nadeau first went to MB2 Motorsports, and Joe Nemechek followed him, replacing him after his career-ending accident, where Nemechek had a minor career resurgence, with both his final win and his best points finish of 16th in 2 seasons at MB2. Over the 29 years encompassing the 25 seasons, 21 of those were full-time, and through those years, the number success had a dip. At first, 2 drivers brought home 13 wins, but following 1995, only 4 more wins were scored, bringing home a total of 17 wins. Of every driver full-time, only 1 was winless in total, that one being Wally Dallenbach Jr. Ricky Craven, who was also winless in the 25, won 2 races in the 32 for PPI Motorsports in 2001 and 2003. While less historic compared to other Hendrick rides, this number will always be remembered for the memories it made on track with some of the greatest underdog drivers, as I am sure there are hundreds of fans who will always remember the 25 seasons. Whichever era it was, this car will always be appreciated, and I hope it makes a triumphant return. Before I leave, I have a separate announcement not related to NASCAR, so if you are involved in tech, you might like this. If not, that's fine, but just a warning to not waste your time. If you are a fan of tech channels, I have some news for you. As soon as this video is put up, I'm putting together a tech channel called Real Tech with Fireball. This channel, while mainly tech-based, will be a place for other content I wish to make. And if you enjoyed a more varied style of a channel, that's the place! Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. Stay safe, and watch some races.